All right. Hey, good morning. This is your Monday update of what's going on in the real estate market, or at least things that are kind of worth knowing and being aware of. I'm trying to do these every Monday again, so appreciate you watching these. And as always, if you have any questions or have other things you'd like me to talk about or dig into as it relates to the kind of the real estate market here in the Portland, Vancouver areas, just let me know at any time. Kind of the thing I was looking at today that I've been looking at over the past probably the past week or so, just trying to kind of understand the market, what's going on with regards to inventory and resale and turnover, and kind of go with all the market stats. Just really kind of trying to keep a feel of what's going on because I hear people talking about there's no homes to buy, or there's only this, or there's only that, or we're missing this, or we're missing that. So it's just a regular conversation that I have with people. And so as I wanted to kind of go through and dive into is looking at what's going on within inventory as it relates to whether it's new construction or kind of turnover, right? Because we know there's going to be headwinds on the resale inventory market because you've got people who benefited from sort of the COVID crash of mortgage rates, if you will. They've got the 2.5% mortgages locked in. We see, I talked about this last week or 2 weeks ago, that we're starting to see that the ice is breaking and that people are starting to turn over those mortgages, right? Life is happening, right? Death, divorce, marriages, babies, you name it. And so we're starting to see that, so that helps. But at the same time, there's still going to be headwinds, I think, for quite a while to really get resale inventory kind of turning over. So then the other part then you kind of look at that's really not hindered by that then is new construction. So I was thinking, like, so what's going on in the new construction world as it relates to the kind of the Portland, Vancouver kind of metro areas? So I kind of went to Fred kind of national reporting stat, and this goes back to 2000 or so, and looking at okay, so new construction permits, obviously you see kind of the Great Recession baked in there, and then kind of a little bit of really not as much of a big uptake as you'd think that there would have been during the kind of the COVID boom, but really it's because they just know that the development process takes so long and that came so fast. But you kind of see this, what looks like it sort of looks like a nice steady baseline, but I don't think it really tells the full picture of new permits, or new housing starts authorized by building permits, blah blah blah. Anyway, so the permits outstanding or issued. If you look at where we are now, you definitely see that we are down. But what does that really mean then? On like say, if we go back and say it's a 25-year run rate now, so we add in the trend line, right? I'm the data nerd, so here we go. So this is where your over the 25 years, what's our trend of new construction development? And you see it is a declining curve. So that is not good as it relates to people are going to continue to move into the Portland area. I covered this in a recent newsletter and probably even on here with United Van Lines doing their net migration studies. And Portland was, I think, top of the nation last year, at least on their study. Um, so as we have people coming in, where are they going to buy homes, right? If resale is sort of stuck, they need new construction. If new construction is not being built in adequate numbers, and this is a bit of a national story, although there are areas like Phoenix, Austin, other places where you just kind of build like crazy. Other places are building and developing, and then their markets are just not quite the same as us. So we've got a declining trend line, but even that doesn't really tell the story in terms of how do we put that in the right perspective. Cue the data nerd. So here we go. What's the monthly averages? So 25 years. Let's go back to the beginning of that chart, right? So the start of 2020. So that's really more than 25 years, but so it's about 1,013 permits per month, issued or outstanding. So that's great. Okay, that's our baseline number. Well, if I just look back, say over the past 10 years, we've seen an uplift, 1,100. So, okay, builders have taken note. This is where people want to be. We've recovered from the Great Recession, where things are kind of going the right direction. That's really what it is, right? Is you're getting skewed from coming off that trough of the Great Recession, and now we're building back to normal levels. So it looks like a little bit of an increase, but fine, take it for what it is, right? Math is math. So we're 1,100 average, perfect. What about the last 5 years? We dropped to 959. There's your downward trend on that trend line. What about just last year in general? 710. That curve is dropping significantly. So in terms of what gets us out of this being more, or probably sooner rather than later, being new construction, that is slowing down, it's ramping down. Whether it's material costs being up, whether it's current administration stuff with ICE deportations and the impact it's having on the construction crews and things like that, don't know. All right, I'm not here to make that kind of commentary, but there's certainly headwinds in the new construction area. The biggest one's going to be facing the Portland area, at least on the Oregon side, is the urban growth boundary from metro, and just limitations of where you can build, how you can build, all that kind of fun stuff. And it's just costly and it just takes time. So That's going to be the big head one. So that's where the big piece. I want to give you a flavor of what we're seeing on new construction and kind of those trend lines of is that going to help kind of thaw out this housing market. And I just think we're going to have a little bit of tough sailing here for a while. And the market's doing great. It's super vibrant. People are buying, selling homes. It's I've been busy all year, and I think I'm going to continue to be busy all year. Knock on wood. So I'm seeing activity for sure. I just think it could and should be more, but don't look for new construction to be that big bail. I just want to bring this piece up. I had a conversation with a client just last night, right? And so I was reading this article this morning. Dave Ramsey, if you're a Ramsey fan, I'm kind of agnostic to the guy, but I think he gives some good advice here and there. He was just sort of talking about the kind of the benefits of home buyers and what do you do and how do you do it and do you really want to be a homeowner? Do you want to should you just rent? And of course he's a big fan of owning real estate as a means of building wealth and sort of asset preservation for your family. Uh, but he had an interesting twist in this article. Kind of like one of his top priorities that he recommends to people when they are buying their house is emphasizing what are your needs versus your wants, right? I need to be close to my kids' schools, or I need to be in my kids' school district. I need to be close to work. I need whatever you need. And then it kind of turns into, granite countertops or a backyard with a view or things like those are your wants, right? Yeah, we want that, but you may not be able to get that, whether it's not available, it's not in your budget, so on and so forth. So it's just sort of an interesting thing, right? And this dovetails to a conversation I was having with the client last night of, at least for me, my approach has always been in this business of trying to hear my clients' stories and then help kind of guide them through this process of let's stay focused on your needs. If your needs are a house that you can expand and start a family in, let's make sure you've got bedrooms. Let's make sure you got a backyard that the kids can eventually play in. Let's make sure you've got, things like that, right? Is the kitchen can be set up the way that I think you're going to want it to be. And other people, it's like, no, this is going to be a 2 or 3 year endeavor, and I need to turn this thing around. Okay, well, we need to then focus on resaleability in a short term and make sure we are maximizing your investment in the home. So it's hire the right agent. I mean, if you don't hire me, fine, hire somebody else. But hire a good agent who's going to help you do just that. Focus on the need, not always the want. Ideally, you can find both, but that number one priority needs to be that need and helping to identify what is that need and what does that look like and how do we stay true to form and how do we evaluate homes as we're going through that lens of the need. I always view this that's my job because you're going to get distracted on the ooh, this is pretty or this is neat, or for me I get to kind of be distant, right? It's not going to be my home, it's not my investment. So I just I'm here for one job that I'm being hired to do, which is focus on the need and then let's go get it for the best deal we can. So there you go. That's your update for the week. As always, thanks for watching this kind of stuff, and those of you who send me questions and comments and shoot me texts here and there, I truly do appreciate it. This is just one guy trying to tell you like here's what I think is worth paying attention to in the market because there's a lot of news, and you're always going to hear it from me of national stories. I don't really care; they don't matter. One last update I will say: I did get an update from my key mortgage lender this morning. He wanted to reach out. Basically, he's like, hey, just let people know mortgages, man, we're back in the five, so 5.99. You just kind of just a straight down the middle kind of mortgage loan. So the fives are absolutely back. So can you get deals sweetened and get them lower than 5.99? Absolutely. If you have questions, reach out to me. I've got a fantastic mortgage lender. This guy pretty much always beats other people on rates and fees. I send everyone to this guy, so he's fantastic. I'll probably have him on here one of these days just to talk about the market, his market, I guess, the mortgage market. But yeah, just your key takeaway though, just know the fives are back. All right, the fives are back, and I'm not. So have a good week, and I will see you next time. All right.